25 meters, finally, they get to right off front of Oz's position. And I got a scope, and my laser's on, my laser's pointing at him. I go, Oz, do you see I've got him? I've got this guy's lasers on. Because Roger, I got it on him. And that's when DB says, I got an AK. Right when he said that, there's a fizz. It comes over the back gate. Just like it's like a cartoon, you know, a Wile E. Coyote with the big wick and slit. What it is what they call a gelatina bomb. And what a gelatina bomb is, it's a bag of explosives that doesn't have shrapnel, but it'll definitely, it's like a big flash grenade. And what they use them for is they use them for fishing. You know, they drop them in the ocean, it blows up, fish come up, you know, redneck fishing in the Mediterranean. They drop it, it blows up. But they utilize it to throw it over the fence and basically as a flashbang. And that's what I saw. I remember just kind of following it. It's like slow motion. Explosion, and then the world opened up. And that was basically our indicator to start shooting. And again, snap, 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 snaps. RPG goes over myself and DB's head. And I remember, they're not going to hit me. And I'm on a parapet, which is about 4 foot high. All the roofs over there are flat, and then they have a 4 foot high parapet. It's a cinder block wall, about 18 inches thick. And I'm just shooting people. And we're just transitioning and shooting. And that first attack was there was only about 10 of them. It only took us probably about 5-10 minutes to fight them off. And I'll let the book go into great detail about how they reacted when they got shot and what happened. I'll say that for the book. But we ended up fighting them off, pushing them off. Well, there was a 2-hour time frame in between there of reflection. And all the guys had their own moments of reflection. Every guy has his reflection in the book of what they were thinking, you know, at that time, except of course for Ty, because we couldn't get his story because he died that night. But my thing was, as I had this reflection, and I'm thinking, well, did I talk to my family? Yeah. I was married when this was going on. I said, well, did I talk to my wife? Yeah. Did I tell her I love her? Yeah. Did I talk to the kids? Yeah. Did I tell them I love them? Yeah. 30-second reflection, and I was like, okay, good, get them out of my head. And the reason, and I'm not trying to be heartless, but the reason was I had a job to do. And you can't dwell on what you might lose if you don't get home. You're not getting up on that roof going, oh man, I'm going to die in this dirty place. I'm going to die in Libya. I'm never going to see my kids again. Because if you're like that, you will die. You won't get back. Now, other guys had other reflections, but that was mine. That was mine, like, it's fine, we still got to complete a mission. There's a lot of adversity we're dealing with, but we still got to complete this mission. Well, 3 o'clock comes around, and now this bigger force comes. And there's about 40 guys starting to mass and come on the east side of the compound. Now, good thing for us that they're not tactically smart, because they started to move from the same position. So this time, it was more of a joke. It was, I got on the radio to our leadership. It's like, hey, are we expecting friendlies to come in our position? Snicker, laugh. Me and DB are laughing up there. And leadership didn't give me a response. And all I'm doing is I'm picking targets up. It's like, guys, you see my targets. You see my positions. Right when that happened, I see a guy, and I'm holding this position here. Oz is there. I've got my sector of fire. I see a guy come across on my peripheral, and he's coming with his hand up. Now, my immediate reaction, I want to turn and shoot. But if I do that, the guys in front of Oz and Tig are going to have places to, and they're going to get able to get him. They're only 25 meters away. So I hold him like Oz has got him. I know Oz has got my sector. I'm like, please God, let Oz have my sector. So he does. And right when the guy comes a hand up, Oz hits him right in the chest. Dude falls, and he had a hand grenade and fell and exploded. And again, the world opened up. And we're shooting, and we're shooting, and we're shooting. And again, the book goes in a lot greater detail. What I want to point out is kind of what I think when I'm shooting and doing in these situations. These people don't become people anymore. Now they're targets. And I grew up in Grand Junction, Colorado. So we had this thing called the prairie dog shoot, great prairie dog shoot. And so that's what I was thinking. I'm just down here, and I'm just shooting prairie dogs. Ping, ping, ping. Now again, that's maybe cold and heartless. Again, I'm not politically correct. They're trying to kill me. I want to go home. I want to see my family get, but bottom line is I want to win. So guess what? That's what you are if you're trying to kill me. Well, we fought them off. And we ended up killing, I know people might ask, like to keep score, and I'll just tell you, we ended up killing 40 of their guys. And we ended up feeling pretty good about ourselves right around 3:30 in the morning after we fought that second attack. Even though we still hadn't found the ambassador, we basically had won 4 different firefights that night. Some large, some small scale. Now during this time frame though, the Tripoli team, which had Glenn Blood Doherty who died that night, our GRS guys, were flying over to assist us. Now, that was on their own dime. The Tripoli team actually rented a plane for $20,000, rented a Libyan plane for approximately $20,000 from Tripoli to fly to us. They weren't escorted in by U.S. military. They rented a charter with flight attendants and everything. That's another funny, if I get to that, but it's in the book, there's something funny that happened with the flight attendant when we were leaving. But the problem was, is they got there at midnight, and the 2 Delta Force operators with them, and the 4 DRS guys that were with them, they'd never been in Benghazi, so they didn't know how to get to our annex, and they only had to go 10 miles. But because we had no rapport with any militias there, because we had no military there to help escort them over, because we had no vehicles at the airport for them, it took them 3 hours to get for that 10 miles from the Benin airfield to us. And they did get there finally after the second firefight at 3:30. And when they got there, they all came in, and everybody, it's just like a herd of cows, goes into Villa C, except for Glenn. Glenn's the only one that actually come up to the roof to help supplement us and to give us breaks. Because we had been, by that time, 3:30 to 4 o'clock in the morning now, we'd been fighting since about 10 o'clock, if you want to count by the time we started moving. So that's 6.5 hours. And I'll be honest, I used the bathroom. I used the bathroom, I was dying. So I'm like, hey guys, can I get somebody up here to relieve me? But I couldn't get anybody to come relieve me. Glenn goes up to Villa C, on top of Villa C to see Ty, and to help Ty out, because Ty and Glenn are our medics. Mark's up on Villa C. Dave Uben's up on Villa C. I'm running down to use the bathroom right quick because I can't get somebody to relieve me, and I run back up. It's about 4:15, starting to get a little bit, the sun's starting to kind of crust a bit, and all of a sudden I hear a boom. And now I lost my hearing pretty bad. DB shot this side out when we were up on one of the rooftops, and my local Libyan angel shot this sphere out. I remember, and there's a chapter with mortars and a question mark on it. That's the chapter where we got hit. And I remember I went, mortars. I didn't hear a huge explosion on the backside of Villa C, just blam. And then RPG hits the back of the building on Villa C, and I see Ty spin. He's got a machine gun, and he just holds the trigger down, and he just starts zipping people up. And I see Glenn turn, he starts shooting. I see Dave turn, he starts shooting on the backside of the gate. I see Mark start shooting. And I turn around, and myself and DB can't even see targets, but we're putting rounds over the top of them just to keep heads down. And then I see another explosion, and that's when it hits the backside of Villa C, and I see one of our guys go down. I didn't know who it was at the time, but it was Dave who he got shrapnel, hit him, shrapnel caught him in the face, and he went down. Well, they're still firing. Mark, Tig, and Bub are still fighting off whoever's back there. Jack is shooting, so is myself and Dave. And then I see another mortar hit. Dang, it's just a huge flash, just blam flashing, because it just whites out my night vision. And immediately thereafter, not within 10 more seconds, I see 2 more. So it was bam, bam, bam. And they hit right dead center of Villa C. And I'll go get quiet on Villa C. And immediately in my head, I'm going, they're dead. Lost them. Now myself and Jack and Dave, again, going back to training, whatever it is, for a split second, I stopped shooting, like, damn it. And then I'm thinking to myself, get back into it, they're still attacking. And I start shooting right back again, just try to keep heads down. Now, we're very lucky again, I'm very blessed. The militia that escorted, we did get a militia to finally escort the Tripoli team to us, with 2 Delta Force operators. They actually had their commander trapped in Villa C when those mortars hit. So when those mortars hit, he's calling to his guys, stop the mortar team. And they went and actually, I could hear them in the distance. I could hear a firefight going on in the distance, about a mile away. I could hear cars squealing, and the mortar stopped. So we were saved by Libyan militia, if you want to look at it that way. Because we had no way to combat a mortar team, even though I'd asked for a Spectre gunship or air support at 9:37, midnight, and at 3:30. So I don't know. Well, they locked that off, and we were able to repel the attack that was coming from the back of our annex. But we did lose 2 guys, and there's a huge chapter in there. We're Tig coming up. I'll give you a brief of it, but I won't let the chapter play it out better than me. Tig is the only one that isn't injured. That's near Villa C. He comes up on the roof, and what he sees is sheer carnage. Dave is actually down. His face is bloody. He's got his gun out, and he's shaking a bit. And this is from John telling me. John's perspective. He's the only one that got up on that roof initially. But Dave, actually, the other 3 mortars that hit, they shredded Dave's leg and his arm. So his leg's basically amputated. He's got a piece of tendon on it. And his arm is basically amputated. It's a tendon. And credit to Tig, it's still dark out. He's got nods on, and he's putting tourniquets on at night with his nods, with his night vision. That's hard to do. But he gets those tourniquets on and saves Dave's life. He goes over to Oz, and this is what was weird where I still saw Oz, and I don't know who it was at the time, but I saw a guy standing up, and I keep seeing him stand up, and it's like it's just like he's drunk. But he's up, and his gun just keeps falling down like this. Like, what in the world is that? What's going on? Well, John gets up there, and I see him turn him and set the guy down. I'm like, that's Oz. Well, his arm had been sheared off. He had a piece of tendon, so it was basically his skin. It's just hanging. Oz is a tough cat. He didn't even realize that his arm was sheared off. And that was him trying to get his gun up because he's thinking, I got to get back in the fight. And he can't support it because he has no arm. So it's just falling down. Tig puts him down, gets a tourniquet on him, tells him to quit playing with his arm because Oz is still just in shock, just playing with his arm. And Tig's like, stop playing with it. And then he goes up to Ty and Glenn, and Ty and Glenn had died instantly. They were both face down. Well, about that time, the Libyan Shield people, and they didn't really like us either. I just think they hated Al-Shashri more. Maybe we paid them a lot more money, I don't know. But 15 minutes, I got a call from our team leader saying, hey, the Libyan Shield's coming, or we got a big militia, 50 technicals. Technicals are trucks, machine guns in the back. They're coming to lock our compound down now. And I'm thinking, roger that. Like, where the hell were these guys 9 hours ago? Well, he calls me on the radio. There's only really three of us left. The 2 Delta guys and our other GRS guys still aren't up on the roofs to help us supply us with any more firepower. But our team leader goes to me and he says, hey, make sure they're good guys before you let them get on the compound. And I'm thinking 50 technicals with Dishkas, which is a 50 cal machine gun, PKMs, which is like a 240 Bravo, and I got this little pea shooter. I'm like, and I remember going on the radio going, how the hell am I supposed to stop them if they're not? You know, I got a little chirp. I was thinking in my head going, okay, how do I signal these guys? I don't speak Arabic, they don't really have signals. Thinking, wait a second, Sudanese and the South Africans, they do this thing called Jambo. And I used to do it in Mosul, and I used to do it in Canada, wherever you go, there's always contracting companies with Sudanese or Kenyans or somewhere, and they know the Jambo is basically hang loose. Well, the Arabs love that stuff too. They'll do that with you. And North Africans, the same. North Africa is basically Arab country. So I'm getting as small as I can, and I got my laser right on the top of this first truck coming in. I got it on this forehead of this first guy, thinking it's the commander. And you could have put a lump of coal at me, and it would have turned into a diamond easily and anything. I was scared a little bit. So I'm sitting there, and I'm getting as small as I can, and I just go, and it was awesome. The guy looks at the window, he gives me a big smile, and he just goes like this. I'm like, oh, Lord, thank you. And I go, they're friendly, let them in. Open up the gate, they let them in, and I mean, it was awesome seeing 50 technicals just surround basically the city block and lock our compound down. But in my head, I was still going, damn, I could have used these guys about 9:37. Well, we ended up getting ourselves off. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning now. We're trying to get ourselves together, get everybody off to the airport. We still got one more thing left to do, though, and that's to get Ty and Glenn's bodies off the roof of Villa C that got hit. They're still up there, and Ty and Glenn are big dudes. They're not small guys. And dead weight, I'm not making a pun, dead weight is hard to carry. And those buildings, they're not built with stairs. There's no stairways, and the ladders that we use are built by us, so they're just rickety old ladders made out of whatever we could find.